Glad to see Abdul and glad to see Simon here as well. Welcome. And I'm going to mute you guys in terms of your mics if you have them. And anyway, let's see, I've got voice there. So we'll get, I guess we should get started. It's 5:50. I'm going to wait a few more minutes and then I'll just go ahead and get started. And then, people can backtrack and see. I know we're early yet. And so as folks join or come in here, why you'll want to backtrack and see the beginning. There's just some housekeeping items I want to keep us on track about and make sure that we're in good shape. And that involves, of course, what's coming up. This week is week 5, pardon me, yikes. This is week 6, so I'm sorry. 9/19/17, this is week 6. I thought I'd added an extra week in there somewhere, and I did. And basically, I have some resources for you that, of course, coincide typically with what we're covering that week. And then, of course, we have the group software projects that are due tonight, and so we'll take a look at them as well. We have a case follow-up. I ask everybody to choose one case from chapters 10 through 12, and then a coverage of Perelson chapter 6, and then a case quiz on cases 9-2 and 12-2. And then the Manelli text test over chapters 4 through 6, and then any other work that we have completed in terms of any databases. And I had posted an announcement about that. And in fact, while I'm in here, I'm going to pop over here and see if people uploaded work. Yeah, good, okay. And well, we got one person who did. And I want to make sure that everybody knows what I wanted for that was the. I'll go back over here for a second. There seems to be some confusion in terms of what people were to upload. I'll just go over to the announcements. And I think I had told everybody what to upload there. I'll go back here to the syllabus for a second. All right, and okay, that's due the 21st. And I posted, I thought, an announcement where I had told everybody what I wanted you to upload there for this one final DB case. And let me take a look up here in the announcements because I could almost swear I did. Pretty sure I did. Let me look at this announcement real quickly. Okay. Let's look at 12. And what did I tell everybody to upload? Okay, let me go to the files. And I think no, not the Bailey bird. What was the one we had? I had a file I wanted everybody to upload that I had covered, and I think it's the Keller. Yeah, It's the killer case, the killer case. All right, okay, now everybody, when you have an assignment, and this deals with killer, which is a database case over in the text, in the case book, it's case 22. Now, this Keller solution, or the information specification solution, or the try your own design solution, either one of those is fine to upload in this very last assignment, where I ask you this assignment that's due the 20th. It's due the 19th, and I have another situation where I had to provide and on the 19th. And sometimes if I have people in a special situation, I have to do that. But in fact, it's down here in the last week of the class. So conclude like 20, and that's due Sunday. That's due Thursday, the 21st. And so you'll want to. It's the Keller database cases. That's what you upload. Okay. I see we've had someone else come in, and I see Dylan's here. Glad to see you. And so everybody will want to take a look back at my stammering and so forth about what to upload right here on this case. And what you should upload is one of those Keller, from the Keller database case, and that's in case 22. And I've got the solutions there. And in fact, I think I covered them, if I'm not mistaken, in a supplemental lab session. And I'll take a look here and see. I'm pretty sure I did. So they just had. I'll know here in just a second. So I want to get this kind of out of the way. Yeah, because we're doing the aggregate functions, the hardware tables. Yeah, the forms, entry forms. Okay, and the employee. Yeah, I covered that in one of the supplemental sessions. So again, in those files, it's called Keller, and that's what you'll upload here for this conclude case 20 or other database. All right, now it's 5:58. We got a few more people coming in here, and glad to see Nancy. Welcome, and Simon, and of course Abdul, Dylan. So glad to have all of you here, and we'll continue on. Now, the last two classes, and I've mentioned this before, these are plenary sessions, meaning I want everybody here, okay? So we can have some interaction. We can talk about some of the work that we've done, and so that if I need to, I can ask a question and get a response from you. And if you can't, and if you don't have, a microphone, I can always just cut and paste your chat. But this is this session, and then let me pop back up here for a moment to I'm not as disorganized as I seem. It's actually a lot worse. And then the final session, which is always my favorite, is when we need to discuss your business movies, and I have some very explicit instructions on what I want you to do for those, and I want you here to discuss those as well. Okay, so I just want to alert you, pardon me, to some things, and I'm hopeful that we're going to have more people showing up here, because we all should be here, especially when we start to talk about the group software project. And this again these are some of the standouts at the International CIS. So let's pop over there real quickly. These are tech products. This is a big tech gathering. Okay, and there's a video here, and you'll want to take a look at it. You'll want to see what are the new things that are out there that everybody's all hot and bothered about in terms of products. So I'll pop back over here, and that's one resource that's there for you to take a look at. And the other, as we're here in the week of the 19th, this is a daily report. This is from the daily report, excuse me, and from the New York Times in the bits section, talking about how China has become a rapidly rising tech power versus what's been happening in Japan. And so I think that's worthy of your consideration to see and to read that article, because so much was dominated by the Chinese, and now that has changed. So I would certainly want you to take a look at that. And another resource that I've got over here for you, okay, and I'll scroll down over here, is the this article about Tech's Frightful Five. These are the big dogs who have emerged as the leading companies in digital life and leading companies in IT. And so I would like you to take a look at that. And the reason I think that's an important article for you is very simple. We know that in every industry that we will see somewhere between 3 and about a half a dozen firms emerge as the kind of we create oligopolies. And so you'll have 5 or 6 firms that have 80% of the sales or 80% of the market. And that's just a normal thing, because cream rises to the top and the best companies emerge in a competitive environment. So I want you to take a look at that and see what folks are saying about those firms and why people believe that they will be dominating things in the future. Here's an interesting resource that looks at a better life by design, and I would encourage you to take a look at it. Okay, and let's see if it's going to pop open for us. And this is from the New York Times, looking at some of the things that are on the frontier of technologies they say are making our lives a little better. And they have a work, play, life, okay, sections, and you can click on those and you can see what's going on. Of course, the ubiquitous tool, the virtual reality, and then some things in terms of our life. But again, just this notion of there really is the separation between online and offline are just simply, they're just, in many ways, in many people's lives, it really does, there is no dividing line. There used to be a log into a computer, whatever. Now, if you have a phone with you, you're online. You may not know it, but you are indeed online. I was astounded the other day when I showed some of my undergraduate students about what all their phone tells about them. They were pretty shocked, and I think maybe kind of got awakened out of a little bit of a sense of, you know, this is all hunky dory, because there are some bad parts to this, as we've seen, for example, with Equifax and that scandal. So we'll go back over here and take a look. Again, these are resources I think are certainly worth your time and energy. And then I have an article that I would like you, certainly, and I even considered giving you a quiz over this discussion of what is a business model? What do we mean by that? And you hear a lot of talk about that. And certainly there are some competing ideas about what business models are and what they're not. And I think that it's imperative for you to take a look at it. And here are, as I talk about some of the basic types, I guess, of business models: affinity clubs, brokerages, bundling, cell phones. This is from the HBR, online crowdsourcing, disintermediation, okay, fractionalization, selling a partial use of something, net jets, timeshares, Uber, Airbnb, and then so-called freemiums. Okay, and these are some interesting ideas, and they quote some very interesting books you may want to take a look at. But that's what some of the folks at Harvard are talking about in terms of business models. And I've said this many times that the technology has changed business models, and databases, I think, are reflected in Facebook. They're reflected in certainly in LinkedIn. They're reflected in Amazon. Anywhere where we collect stuff, okay, and then we can pull it up and look at it. We pull data. Basically, Amazon has a bunch of millions, tens of millions of tables, and we query those data. Or a discussion board, which is really what Facebook is. What a lot of people don't know is that 25 years ago, in the late 80s, early 90s, there's been an internet since it was created by the Defense, the DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Administration, and they created this underground set of cables that they could communicate by phone, and they had some computers that they could hook up, and they developed the very first modems. I sent an email in 1978, and the modem, the phone sat on top of this huge modem that screamed, and it took 45 minutes to send an email. Okay, but that was the technology. But from that backbone came the notion. Tim Berners-Lee developed the web page and HTML and domains, and built what people call the internet, but it's really the web. The internet's the backbone. And so we've seen spreadsheets and that notion of forecasting and how that's changed in business, and now we see the rise of analytics and how that's producing some changes in the way people do business, and certainly optimization is another. Where this will all go, wearable computers, people interacting with their environment. Really right now, probably the most interaction between humans and automated machines, probably cars. And that's all going to change. So again, IT, which is designed to be decision-centric, okay, is the way we use those things. And we, again, lay on that hardware, software, peopleware kind of model. And so I think is that article is there at HBR is one well worth your perusal to do some deeper thinking about your business and what business you're in. Well, that all being said, I'd ask everybody I'd ask the teams to put together some group software projects. And before I do that, I wanted to see. I was trying to remember if I had a chance to show everybody the technology that's over here in Canvas, and some other learning management systems use those. I'm going to click here for a moment on this case quiz. Okay. Now remember, I'm in the instructor mode, so you're going to see some junk you wouldn't see, stuff you would see otherwise. I'm click speed grader, and I want you to watch this. Now, this is the kind of thing. Okay. Abdul, I'm sorry I'm picking on you, but at least we should see that you did okay. And I'm going to use a speech recognition. Now, look, speech recognition tools are not new. They've been around a long time. But this one, which needs really no training, is fantastic. So I'm gonna say this. Abdul, I appreciate the excellent job you did on this assignment. You scored a perfect 50 out of 50, and I'm very proud of you for having done that. I am so happy you're in the class, and you make us all proud of you. God bless. Now, folks, I'm through using this tool, and there it is. Now, I can use this to respond to assignments, and with a little bit of editing, I've saved myself a lot of typing, okay? And what is amazing about this and startling to me is how well this translates. Look, I mean, it did it beautifully. And the very first speech recognition systems that existed, you had to train them. You literally had to teach them. And now, and of course, many of you probably carry Google. If you travel, you probably have a little Google app or an app. Somebody has an app that you press on the thing and you can say, you know, how do I catch the bus in some language, or where's the restroom, or something of that nature. And so this is what really stunned me, because this is, you know, this is pretty high technology. And compare, and 25 years ago, the idea that I would speak, a microphone would record my words and then translate my speech pattern and the words, and take that and convert it into written text, was, people said, well, it's possible, probably going to be a long time before it happens. And this is, I didn't even have to train this. This is the thing that's so fantastic to me about this. I didn't even have to train it. So you can see how fast this technology is coming upon us. And I'm going to just close it off, because I don't want to embarrass Abdul anymore. Although he shouldn't be embarrassed, he had a good score, thank goodness. I'm so glad you did well on that one. I didn't choose something where you didn't do well. I'm going to pop this back here, and I'm going to go into the settings. I'm going to go into the instructor mode, into the student mode, student view, so you won't be seeing a bunch of stuff. It confuses you. And so I wanted to also take a few minutes to talk about these group software projects. Now, there was a method to my madness, okay? And here's what I was having you do. I wanted you to go through the process of taking information in one format, i.e. a book, putting it into another format, and then importing it into a database, and then using queries to pull information out of that database. So what you did was you mimicked the whole idea of extraction, storage, and retrieval, which is at the heart of information technology. That's how information technology becomes decision-centric, because we get what we need, we store it, and then we query it. And those queries can be a one-shot deal. They can be a regular type of thing. I collect the sales I did that week. And so there was a method to my madness. I had provided everybody an example over in the files, and I'll pop over here for a second, of a database. And so click in the files. And I'm pretty sure I published it. And pop down here, and we'll find this. This is the example that I had provided for everybody. It's down here. I know it's down here somewhere. I'll find it. And hang on, man. Might be up there. Called example. Let me go back up here for a minute. There it is, example. And I'm going to download that example. Okay? And you can see now what I did here, and I had you create a database, all right, and I had you start with a table, and here was what I was asking for: the question ID, the question, the correct answer, the page, and what chapter and degree of difficulty, okay, and then to run some queries on the basis of that, okay. And I asked you to, I had to create a parameter query, okay, and then we had a second query, and let's look at it in terms of C2, and I want to look at the design view for it. Okay, and this dealt with question difficulty, okay, and the degree of difficulty in descending order. And so I basically, and I even created a form that you could have used if you wanted, okay, to populate your table. And so that's okay. And then a report. So I gave you an example, hopefully, to get you started on the right foot in terms of working with that. And I don't want to save any of those, so we'll go back. So that was to get us to that point where you could get started. But again, the whole idea on this was to, I'm going to pop over to the syllabus, was to have you go through that process of transformation of data, okay, and work with it. And that's, as we saw when we worked with the databases, we saw how much work we had to put in with the tables, because that's where everything starts, okay? And you got to have the tables. They've got to be, and we've seen table design over and over. What kind of data am I getting? And that feeds into KPIs, key performance indicators, and then I put those in the form of a dashboard, and that helps make IT decision-centric. That doesn't include automated types of situations where a sensor reacts to something. I could go on and on, but that's really not IT as much as when we talk about IT, we really talk about people, peopleware, hardware, and software, and and how they aid in organizational decision making. And that's why in the Perelson book, they took Porter and overlaid all of that. So that's pretty much been a theme throughout the course. Well, I wanted to see how everybody does, and before I do that, we also had a quiz over Perelson Chapter 6. I wanted to talk about it for just a few minutes, and then of course you had the quiz over Manelli. Now, the Perelson text is an excellent text, and I use it because I think I have yet to see an MIS text any better. The Manelli book, talking about big data and big analytics, the reason I made you go out there and get the book and read it and take exams over it is because he really does understand and make the connection between what we call big data, okay, and technology and decision making, and the whole idea of business intelligence. And so he pulls all that together, and that's why I like that textbook and why I use it. And so I think it's quite apropos. Well, I'd ask everybody to organize themselves, and because this is one of those things where somebody gets nervous if we don't have a discussion board or we don't have some kind of social learning thing. So I'm going to click over here and see how we did. Okay, and we had quite a few posts. I'm very happy with them. Okay, and some questions about the course. And the last post is the 5th, and yep, that's okay. Usually, if I remember, I go over and take a look at it. Most time, people will send me an email, and then we had a DB for meetups, and then we had a Team A's discussion board and Team B, and a lot of activity there. I was very happy to see that and see that you were using it. And listen, folks, I understand that group assignments are the bane of your existence because there's always a free rider problem or personality conflicts, or any one of a number of things. And I lived through enough group projects myself in graduate school, it made me crazy. So I understand it, and I really appreciate the hard work you've done as I've worked you, as I've seen you start to work to pull this thing together. Now, let me see who else has joined us at this point. And let's see, I see Nancy, we've got Simon, Dylan, Amalin, and I guess we're starting to build up a little bit here. I'm hopeful that we'll be hearing some from one of our colleagues who was caught down in Florida in the storms, and pray for her. Now, we'll go back here to the modules, okay, and we'll see how everybody did, and pardon me, to the syllabus, because it gives us that listing of work. And this is the group software project. So I'm going to start with the access. And now, one of the things I've said to everybody is this is these are plenary sessions. You said, what do you mean by that? What I mean is I want you here. This week and next week will be the only two asynchronous events, synchronous events that I'll ask everybody to participate in. That's a fancy way of saying I want you here at this time and place. I want you online at this time so we can all be together and discuss these things, okay? And I know you that's everybody's schedules and so forth don't jive, but I wanted everybody to make their dead level best to be here for that. And so I've got 6 of us. We've got quite a few of us who are not here. Maybe they'll join us through the evening. I'm not sure. But I'll send out another email, particularly about the business movie exercise, that's the type of session it is. Now, it's 6:22, and what I really intend to do tonight is to just spend some time going over these group software projects. I may even take a look at some of everybody's case follow-ups, and we'll talk about those. And then we'll call it a night. I probably will not do any kind of supplemental work. I think we've done all that we need to. But I do want to show you one file as you get ready to do the movie business assignment. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can find mine. There's the instructions for the business movie. Okay. And that's published, and so you can get it. And then let's see if I provided an example for you to take a look at. I thought for sure that I had. I could be completely wrong. I thought I put an example in there. And what I'm going to have to do is go back into instructor view. I'm sure I have it. I just didn't publish it yet. But you'll be able to see. But here the business movie exercise. And I'll take a minute to talk about it real quickly. Okay. And the instructions, and it's pretty simple. I mean, this is what I'm asked to do is basically use some searches, use some, find some books that are about them, find some YouTube clips. So you're kind of getting a flavor of you're kind of building this movies exercises to give you a chance to relax a little bit with an assignment and have some fun, and then see that just even with movies, there are a number of tools out there in which there are archives that can be found. And I'll share mine with everybody next week. Let's go back over the modules here, and I do appreciate the fact that you've had to plow through some of this. Maybe some of you by your own. So maybe all these group situations you can have some issues. So I'm going to open this up and see if I can see it. I'm going to have to get out of the student view. So excuse me. I'm going to do that. And I will start to take a look at it. And I had said I wanted you to have it uploaded by the team leader. So I'm going to pop through the speed grader and see if I can find out who the team leaders are. And this is from Marcus, I guess, and his team, Group A. Okay. And I'm going to download your file. Okay. And if I can remember everybody, what I'll do is I will, I'm sure you've all, I don't believe it was that difficult. So let's see what we got. And we'll go into the design view. Correct. Good. Good. Excellent. And a good description here. And the question in memo format, the ID. And so let's go up top and take a look. Good. Okay. Now what I also had you do there was, as I said before, there's a method of my madness, and that is I had you use some different formats here in terms of populating the table. Now let me see if you have a form. You do. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Good show. Quite good. I'm very, very happy. This is excellent. Well, look, you know more about databases right now than 95% of the people who work for you or work with you, or you will work for. And that's okay, because if you understand that, the key to the database, okay, is not the technology. The technology is fantastical. You just saw a very incredible demonstration of how a database took my voice with my strange mixture of having lived in the North for 20 years and having lived and grown up in Oklahoma, okay? And that's a strange mixture. And I've listened to myself enough times on these to know, I go, oh, I always want to cringe. And take that and give me a near perfect transcription. Pretty good. So databases are powerful tools, but they're also an analytical cube. And it's that analytical cube, thinking about the dimensions in your business. What are the important variables? What do I need to know? That's the part that the technology is designed to be a help through as you go, help you as you go through it. And it's just like using menus, drop-down menus, dialog boxes. So this is good. You've got that query, did very well. And let's look at the report. Well, the form, we got the form open. Now let's look at the report. Okay, we need to select a chapter, so I'm going to select chapter 1. And they gave us a parameter query, very, very nicely done. Okay, and now, of course, you have a fairly small sample size, but what you can do with this second query, C2, you can take this and export it, okay, and into a more comfortable environment. And I tell my students who take database administration, where we go into databases as a decision maker and an end user in great depth. You always use a database what it's intended for. Use a spreadsheet what it's intended to do. So I'm very, very happy with what I see here. This is quite good, and you've done good here. So I'm gonna close that off, okay? And so let's see who else. Marcus, your team. Marcus, you guys did good. I asked each one of your team leaders to upload something, so I'm understanding I'm going to come through some missing things. And I'll get this all sorted out, you know, who's on the teams and all that to make sure you all get your points. Well, let's look what Abdul, I'm picking on Abdul tonight, and I had to say I'm sorry, but so far you've done good, so it hasn't been an embarrassment, Abdul, and thank God for that. I'm teasing you. Okay, here it is. Fantastic job. Excellent. Use the auto numbers, the whole bit. got the correct answer, the page, the chapter, the degree of difficulty. Okay? This is very, very good. And again, exactly, let's look at the design view, see what we did. So Abdul, you and your colleagues are to be congratulated for your hard work and your good work. Okay, and I'm very, very happy with what I'm seeing here. Let's look at the queries. It's giving me all right, now let's open this up. And they select a chapter. I'm going to select chapter 7. And if we had a chapter 7 in the book, there it is. Very good. Now let's go in the design view of this. And you understood now how to make a parameter query. Now, this gives me a chance to wax philosophical about a parameter query. And no, this is not some query I met some night in a database that was smoky and dark and had beautiful eyes. This is a parameter query is just simply a way that limits what you're going to get. But what it does is it's a challenge, and it makes certain that the end user knows what they're doing. And the most prevalent use of a parameter query is a password. That's really what a password is. And if you're like me, there's some passwords you remember, some you forget. And you don't make the mistake one of my colleagues made once of using a scatological password because he happened to be in front of a class when I was observing him teach. And he put a scatological password in, and then he accidentally pressed on show it, and the whole class got quite a laugh at his expense. So keep it clean, and nothing like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know how to build passwords, but that's what a parameter query does. So so far so good. Very happy with that. Let's see what we got here. Go into the design view. Good. Okay. And you got it in the degree of difficulty, and I ran that query. All right. Very nicely done. Good job. Really happy with that. Abdul, you and your folks, you're on a roll. Let's see what we got here. Good. Then let's see the form. Excellent. And asking me for a chapter. Good show. So on the database part, you've done good so far. Everybody's rolling 7s and 11s. Let's see. This is group Nancy, Thomas, Dylan, et al. Well, let's take a look at what you've got there. This is team A. I'll open them up. And good. Okay. Okay. Very good. And the content of the book was excellent. This business about the Web 2.0. Now people are talking about the Web 3.0. I've got to throw this show 3.0. Good job. Very nicely done. And there's a nice, very nice form. Now, what you can do with the form, and I didn't talk about this much, but I'm just going to click on Design View for just a second, okay? I'm going to pick on you guys. I'm going to go down to Design View. And if I want to, I can put in a chart. I could put in a picture, okay? And so I'm going to look for a picture here. And if I want to insert a picture, I can insert in one right in here. And you can see the hourglass, and it's going to say, where do you want to find your picture, okay? And would this be a slideshow? Is it going to be a package? Is it a WordPad document? Is it an Adobe? Is it a bitmap? So you can tailor your form, okay? All you want. Now I'm going to go, and we didn't talk much about forms, but I'll show you real quickly. This text box is what we call an unbound text box. Okay, that's where you store data. Then you have these little things called labels over here. Now there are some of you I know who are very expert at this. Okay, and this is a this is slow going for you. I appreciate that. This is a button that lets me, it's a command button wizard, lets me do some things like go find a record, find the next record. I can have some report applications, and I could get record navigation, and I can, the action, I can go to the first record, okay? And I want to do, it's called record operations, forms, reports, and I can just automate that process. Now, I'm not going to save this, but you'll want to explore some of it. And remember, I'm going to close this. And you're not going to hurt this thing. You know, and when it's all said and done, just destroy it and start over, like the good Lord did with the world at one point. Here's a nice parameter query. You did that. Let's open this up. Very good. You've got these by degree of difficulty. Good job, all. Okay. Now, I understand this was not something that involved rocket science, okay? I understand that completely. But I will say this. What you have here, what you've done is you've put together a full package that you could use to build a business intelligence tool and export stuff. And you could create a form. And I'm just gonna, and I think you saw one of those where it's kind of served as a front page. You could click and take it, open up one report, or this or that. So you did very well. The only thing we didn't do a whole lot of was look up tables, but that's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to close this off, and you did very well, my friends. Very, very well. So I'll close that one off. So congratulations on that. Good job. And we'll flow on through here. And we've done Abdul. We looked at Group A, and we'll see what else we've got here. And I had it written down in one of my books here about which teams I had. And there's Dimitro. And Dimitro, if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. I do recognize Smirnoff from another life. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I know you're probably sitting there going, "Oh, you're shaking your head." It's going, "Hey, probably so. You're probably a lush." But this is, again, part of Abdul and his group. And we'll pop through here and see Group A and Group B. I think that pretty much does it as far as all of that. So far so good. So I'm going to go back here now to the modules. And we had 2 teams. That's right. That's why I only have 2 teams up there in the dashboard. Sometimes I know I amaze you with my intelligence. I appreciate that. Thank you. I can see the smirks through the little thing. Now we had a group project upload a Microsoft Excel file here, and let's take a gander at that. And I'll go through SpeedGrader, and I'll find the culprit. Here's an Excel file to load up. Now I'm going to download this so we can see the work that you did. So I asked you to do a little bit of visualization and work some numbers. Excellent. Nicely done. Very good, my friends. Now, let's look at this. We've got some good labeling here. Got the data. Yes, yes. Excellent. Good job. That's nicely done. Nicely done. Excellent. Now, I wanted to get the number of questions per chapter. Very good. That you kept it simple. That's the way to do it, my friends. Now, up here, let's talk about the charts for just a moment. First of all, the simplicity, I like. It's good. That's how you should do it. The only thing I would do would be maybe to add data labels. Okay? And not the series data, but the data labels themselves, okay? And I'm gonna look at what we've got under here. Select the data. Okay. So we had okay. So you have the degree of difficulty. Good. Okay. Series 1, Series 2. All right. I can go with that. Now, I'm going to mess with your work a little bit here. Okay. And I want to select the data. Where did it come from? From that data series. Okay. All right. You did well. The only thing sometimes about pie charts is they're not proportional on Excel. That's why people are really, you know, there's some charting tools. Although for normal people like me, Excel does it. But you done good. I like what you got there, and this is nice. You've combined in the questions with the visual output. That's quite well done. My compliments. Okay, so you did very well. I'm very pleased with what I see. Good job. Not bad at all. Pretty good. So I'll close that off. All right, now let's go find some more people to pass through about all this. See, for some of you, this is probably just like taking a snooze. I understand. And then I had those people also for whom this was a bit of a frightening project. So I'm going to look to see what we had in terms of a second group, and I'll take a look at that. And then let's go back over to the module, to the syllabus. I'll probably miss something that was turned in there. That's probably my fault. And let me see. And probably what I should have done is also had you post them at the discussion board. If that's my fault, I'll dig through this and find what I need to find. Now we had the Word file. That should have been pretty simple. And putting the questions in and rendering them into the Word. Good. Part D, beautifully done. My compliments. Excellent, excellent, beautifully done. Let me pop over here and see if I can find the other group. And here we are, Group B. Nicely done, my friends. Very nice. You're good here. Listen, I've seen some. I've had some moments where I've dreaded this exercise because I knew it was going to be bad. These are quite good. My compliments to you. Very, 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 very good, folks. So I'm really happy. I just wish we had more people here tonight. We should. So if you're watching this broadcast later, let me say this: you need to be here next week because if I ask you about your business movies exercise and you're not around to answer, I won't be a happy camper. Here's the thing: while this is supposed to be asynchronous, you can come in and work, blah blah. There's always somebody above me who wants. Well, make sure they have a discussion board. Make sure they have a social learning experience. Okay, I say okay. Oh, I understand for all of you, group projects are the bane of your lives. God bless you. I hate them too, because invariably they create problems. But got some good stuff going there. So the group software project tonight, very, very good. I'm really happy about what you did with them. And I'm going to take us back to home. Okay. And I'm going to close that one off. I'll go back here to the home page and scroll down. We had some other work to do this week in addition to the group software project. And I'd ask you to do some case follow-ups And so I'm going to pop in here for just a minute. I'll take a look at them. We'll talk about them some. And the speed grader. Right. And see Abdul, and he does a pretty good job. Okay. And the business insight. Okay. Okay, the Monster Thick Burger. So you did the burger. I think it's the Burger King case where they had the Monster Burger and Monster Thick Burger, and things didn't work out if I remember correctly. So you know, not a happy day. Pretty good case, and this is just another one of these. You know, to one of these situations where, you know, it kind of worked, but it didn't. And the I'm going to find out which case that is in the textbook. In fact, you've got your textbooks over there. The thick burger, the Monster Thick Burger, and then appeals to me greatly. It makes me hungry. And that was probably your tactic, Abdul, was to make me hungry, so I let us out of class early. I understand. Let's see if I can find the Monster Thick Burger. M-O-N. Monster Thick Burger, pages 373 to 374. All right. Now, I'd say this right now. I think this, based on his wise choice of a case, I think I'd have to say that Abdul may have just made an A. I'm kidding you. But yeah, this is using some analytics, okay? And this is the brain behind the Big Bad Burger and how they utilized analytics data to market the Monster Thick Burger, okay? And an interesting case story, and you wouldn't think that BI would have, IT department would have a lot to do with fast food, but oh, does it ever. And this is a good job there, and a good choice of cases. So I liked what I saw. So good job, Abdul. I think, are you there? Let me see if I can pop on everybody here. Abdul, you are there, and you're on mute. Do you have a microphone? I'm going to unmute you. And Abdul, you're welcome to share. I'm going to unmute you.
Yes.
And I want to share with us, other than being a fast food junkie, what motivated you to choose this case? And I hear your mic. Is your microphone on, Abdul? Oh, I muted you. Okay, Abdul, you're there.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, other than being a fast food junkie, what motivated you to do this case?
Because it says sometimes companies come up with a new product. Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it may not.
Okay, good.
That's why I find it's interesting.
Okay, good. Were you hungry when you chose it?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. I'm getting hungry just talking about it. So I'm going to move on to another case, but thank you so much. Good job.
Yes.
And I'm going to mute everybody again so we can go through here for just a second and not have a lot of extra background noise. I can take a look. Marcus, let's see what Dylan had going on. And he took Sabre. Okay. Very good. He worked and got some works in terms of the this is Sabre, the travel, the reservation company, and Sabre Holdings. And I agree with you. I think Dylan, I think I like this because it does indeed show how a company
can learn from its mistakes. And Sabre was originally just a system of American Airlines, and then got spun off as its own company because it was so good at what it was doing. And again, they're working with they're working with some monstrous logistical problems. So this is a good choice of a case. And I think you're here, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I saw you in here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Now, anything else, Dylan, that you'd like to add about the case, as far as what you might have learned that you didn't incorporate here in your response?
No, I just like the case because it really involves what we're doing with this class, looking at different information technologies and how companies are always faced with these just gigantic problems and how they're able to learn from their mistakes, because most of the time you're not going to learn it the first go around.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And I hope that when all of you were going through the Perelson text, you saw some different ways to design these systems or to deploy them. And so, yeah, I like that as well. And the changes in the airline industry have really forced Sabre to do it, to its work. And you got a good job, good job here. Some current events. You have a nice link and a couple of citations. Yeah, the mobile and travel. And yeah, and that's very, very nice. And I will look forward to going out and taking a gander at that article. I think this is the link to it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do that. I'm going to do this for just a second. I'm going to click on this link and see where it takes us to. And I think, yeah, good. The mobile. Okay, excellent. This is good. Dylan, this is very good. Everybody, I'm really happy. Now, what he's done is he's used this link, of course, to take us out to a good resource that tells us about Sabre and their role in the reservation system, but how they really do. They really are. They are all about making decisions, because you're booking flights, and it was very good. So, Dylan, thank you much for doing that case follow-up. It was quite good. I'm going to move on now, and let's see what Taylor did. And Taylor, you chose to take a look at Sabre, okay? And it looks like another good response there, and some good company announcements. These are always good, and Sabre does. And like any traded firm, Sabre will put out it'll put out some announcements through its website, or you'll see them show up in somewhere like Yahoo or something like this. And you've done a good job here in terms of this business of taking systems and moving them over and trying to handle the implementation issues. And this Perelson text does a great job of talking about, how to handle that process and to get it done. So nice choice, and thank you very much for sharing that with us, Taylor. It was a very good job, very good. You see Lisa, we got going on here, and Lisa, you let's see if Lisa's here. Okay, and let me see if Lisa Harrison is here tonight. She's here. This is her chance to shine. Lisa's not here, so shame on you, Lisa. I'm teasing. But this is, she's looking again at CKE at the brand. And again, as you can see, she's got some good detailed information, okay, about what's going on, and using a business intelligence system. And I think all of you who did this probably found it interesting about how important IT is to these companies. And it truly, truly is. Not only just communications or handling transactions or logistics or inventory, but also just in getting an idea of what is it that people want, and handling that within the context. It always amazes me how you go to a fast food operation and it's so many, the square footage is just rinky dinky, but they're running millions of dollars of business. And so there's got to be a lot of thought there. So nice job. Let's see here. We've got Amalin, and this is the virtual crowd analytics. Good. They're an advertising company over in Austin, and they're using this virtual marketplace. Good. This is an interesting case, and they have really done some good things. You got a good article about them, and using simulations. Okay, I was doing a recording for the management science students this morning, and I took them through. We were using the Excel solver, which is an optimization tool, as I'm sure many, probably all of you know. But what they saw was that you could use that approach and that tool to build a portfolio for a company, to handle a make or buy decision, and to handle an airline routing problem, and the versatility of it. So, and at the heart of those are simulations. Simulations are a really powerful tool, and they're not as sophisticated as they sound. I showed the students there, for example, one of their decision variables was the amount of time they spent working on a component. And so we ran through, we took and we worked through that a little bit. And then we took industry, the market demand for the product. And I said, you have controllable variables and uncontrollable variables, and boom, away we go. And I took the demand variable and I used a function. It's called rand between. Okay. And rand between is you put in a top number, a bottom number and a top number, and it will give you as many iterations as you want. I don't know what the limit is. A random number. Now they have to be whole numbers. And I said, then once you've run 1,000 of those, you could take the average, you could take the median, you could take the mode, but you could simulate the noise that's out there in the market. The data we get is made up of two pieces. One is signal, one is noise. And always trying to figure out what's the signal and what's the noise is the great challenge of trying to do anything predictive. So there's a lot in this case using simulation as a tool, and that can be done. If you look in Excel and you open it up, and you'll see the what if tools, and we've worked with them. Goal seek, where you take one variable, or you could take the scenario, and so you could take several variables, or you could use a data table, okay, and that's another tool. And then the one that's the most advanced is the solver, which is an optimization tool. So nice job, good case, and I appreciate it very much, very, very much. Nicely done. And let's see, Simon, I'll pick on you. Very good, Simon. You took Sabre Holdings too. I think it's just an excellent case. The airline industry is one that has always fascinated me, and of all of the industries, maybe other than cell phones. Cell phones I find is just very fascinating. Airlines really are interesting me for a couple of reasons. One of them, as a young child, I flew with my family out to California, and flying. Here was our experience. Compare it with yours today, and you tell me, is the industry going forward or backward? The people at Will Rogers Airport, which is here in Oklahoma City, drove over to our home. We had a gentleman who took our luggage and put it in the back of the station wagon, drove us to the airport, okay? And we went on in on the tarmac while he took our baggage along, and we had our tickets and handed them to the what they called the stewardess, which we now call the flight attendant, who was taking tickets while we were out on the tarmac. There was no TSA, there was no body scans, nothing. Of course, it's a different world, but to me that, and then flying, and then we had a nice meal and dinner. I mean, hey, you understand that's first class? No, that was all class. There was no first class in those days. They only had first class in those days is if you had your own airplane. Okay. And I remember thinking, we're here, and the pilot announced our altitude, and he said, look out the window and you'll see this or that. And it blew me away. Of course, now flying, unless you're in first class or you have your own plane or you go on a charter jet, is a lot like riding on a bus, more like being herded like cattle. So I find it fascinating. Plus, the economics of that industry are such that it has this enormous fixed cost it deals with, called planes, called landing fees and takeoff fees, and all those kinds of things, and trying to battle that. And so I appreciate it, Simon. This case is very fascinating and interesting to me, also because Sabre, very quietly, has been one of the world's great business intelligence tools, because it's been harvested trillions of times for people to find a flight, and especially when if flights are canceled, there's problems. So thank you very much. Good job. Nicely done. Let's see what Zach did. And good. He talked about this is the golf case. Yeah, Troon Golf. I love that. Thank you, Zach. Zachary, are you here? Zachary, let me see if Zachary's here. No, I bet Zachary's playing golf. How many of you would agree with that? Just send me a chat message if you think Zachary is out playing golf, and we should shame him tonight for not being here at class. Or I'll just send him an Zachary, when you hear this, I hope you feel bad. I'm kidding you. I'm just teasing. But Troon Golf, interesting what they've done with their company, and how they've integrated IT, okay, in order to augment their business model. And he's got a good quote he got from the Huffington Post, and a good article there about how small companies can save their money. And the golf course industry is again very much like the airline industry, in that it is capital intensive heavy, which means you spend a lot of money on a big fancy clubhouse. You spend a lot of money on a bunch of grounds, and then what do you end up? Well, you have Bill Murray and a bunch of squirrels running around, right? Remember that? I'm teasing you. I'm Caddyshack. Okay, what can I say? And I know one of you next week for your business movie is going to tell me it's Caddyshack. I know it's coming. I'll be ready. So good job, Zach, and just how they were able to save some money and using IT to do that. Let's see what Dave, what he did. Dave chose Sabre Holdings, and again, nice job here. Some good references, and the problems of trying to manage these big systems. There's also a case in here about Boeing and the airline, the Airbus. I believe it's in the Perelson text, and talking about how to pull all that system together. So, nicely done there. Short, succinct, but pretty much what I was after. And let's see, we've got, wow, now Thomas, this is fascinating. The City of London's traffic control. Okay. You're all reading along with me. Okay, and this is the idea of having a smart city. Let me see if Thomas is here tonight. Thomas, are you here? I keep calling on people and they're not here. I need to send everybody an email and say, where are you? You hurt my feelings. Not really, but we all should be here tonight. But did a nice job here. And what he does a really superb job is providing these articles. This is excellent. And then and pulling his findings. Okay. And this whole notion of trying to create smart cities. So good job there, Thomas. You've done good. Let's see, this is Perelson. Let's see, importance of ITT-based innovations. All right, good. Good. Saber, okay. Nicely done. Glad to see, Mr. Smirnoff, that you chose that. And then you talked some also about FedEx. You got some good observations here. And the growth of e-commerce. Excellent job. Excellent references here. This is good. Glad to see you went over to the Wall Street Journal and did a nice job. It's good. Sabre Holdings is an interesting case. And that's pretty much test student. We'll go back to test student. That's me. And I didn't turn anything, so shame on me. I get a 0 for the assignment. That pretty much runs through in terms of the work that I ask everybody to turn in for this week. I'm pretty sure we've got the group things. We had the you had the Manila exam, you had the case follow-ups, and then the case quizzes. So that will pretty much do it. Now, I know that you had to do some work outside to get yourselves collected and get everything done. And so where we are at this stage is, and I'll go back, we'll go back now to the out of the syllabus area to the modules, and we'll talk about what we got left going on. And I want to say this, I'm very, very happy with your work on the cases. Good job. And I have sometimes I'll have classes that are a little bit wordy, and that makes me crazy. So I'm not, I'm not always looking, I don't grade on the basis of volume. As I mentioned, this is a plenary session, which means all hands on deck, okay? And that's what I really wanted folks to do. Now, this is the last week. This is the next week is the end, the last of this class. And I know for many of you, this will be a moment of joy. And I wanted to let you know also, you'll be receiving some information from the university about evaluating or assessing the course, this course that I've just taught you. And once you've gotten word that once you are supposed to fill out an assessment, let me know and I'll send you $100. I'm kidding. That is a joke. That is a joke. No, but you will be getting some information, and it's your chance to give the university some feedback about me and about the course. And you know, every time I teach this, there are usually 2 or 3 people who demand their money back. I don't think I'll be able to pay you the money back. So you're probably doing a good ask. Well, you ask, but they won't give you the money. But anyway, that all being said, here's what I want you to do. It's pretty clear. Create a Microsoft Word document. It contains your response to the exercise. Okay, and then upload it. The first thing I'm asking you is select 5 movies that are about business that you have seen, okay? And for each movies, this may be your chance to do a little binge watching. It's 5 movies. And then for each movie, I want you to give me the information stated, number 3. And then number 4, which is always a fun one. And you've got IMDb, Turner's database, and the All Movie database, and then TCM. A TMDB, I can't remember this, but TCM has their own database, and then the Open Movie database. So 5 movies about business, okay? and then a URL to 2 or 3 books about those movies. If there's a book about the movie, the making of the movie, someone who starred in the movie, fine. You say, why are we doing this? Well, I'm doing this because number one, it helps you go through and do some searching and see how we can drill down, okay, to get some information. So you're kind of doing a drill down exercise. Then a URL to the books, okay, and movies are intellectual property, so you know they're usually are derived. Many times, books are derived from movies. Pardon me, are derived from books. Harry Potter, I rest my case. The trilogy, the Rings, I rest my case. And then if you look back at old so-called classic movies, which I'm a lover of, the books, the movies are usually drawn from a book or maybe a series of magazine short stories, you name it. And then I want you to provide me a URL to any YouTube film clip from each project you select. Now, listen, I'm wise enough that when, I don't know what the movie that Sharon Stone was in with Michael Douglas, I know. I had a couple of students last semester that submitted that link. I saw it coming and I didn't click the link. Okay. So there are going to be some naughty things. I had a couple of people that did Wolf of Wall Street. And of course that's got some naughty stuff in it too. Okay. We're all big people and we understand that. So I'm wise enough to know to filter out, because I made the mistake one time of opening one of those and I had to close it immediately. But I want you to find that clip. And the reason is now you're going through a cycle. And you're walking through that information and decision-making cycle, and then YouTube itself is another database where you can find clips of just about anything, or sometimes entire movies. YouTube's incredible. Okay, how did I live without it? I don't know. And then a paragraph, a synopsis on the key points, ideas, or themes at the heart of each movie you selected. Okay, so then I'm going to have you do a little analysis, and then lastly, I'm going to have you rate it. This is a chance for you to enjoy yourself and to have some fun. Okay, and I bet you've seen far more movies about business than you ever believed. And I think it's good for you to see how business is depicted. I don't think we do enough to do that, and I've toyed with the idea of incorporating some movies in, but I've learned to stop short and stop at this exercise, because I've always had this concern that if I use a particular movie and there's a naughty word or a naughty thing that happens, or people smoke or they drink, I'll be hearing about it because of the institution we are and who we represent. Okay. Now, that's okay by me, because we are who we are. And so I don't censor things. So if you have those clips, I'll see them. But I can tell you, you're going to see there's a lot more out there than you think. And I believe that they can tell us a lot about what society believes they see in business. And I think you'll even find some about IT and some interesting things. So I'm looking forward to it, because I think it's always a fun thing. I really do enjoy it. To me, it's just a great fun thing. I know all of you've had to put some work in with these projects, not a tremendous amount, but I know you've had to put in some extra work. And so I'm going to kind of wrap it up, and then we'll wrap up next week. And if those of you who listen in, I really want everybody here, because I really want to have a chance to interact with you if you've not had that chance. And I think let me see if we've had anybody else join us so far. Nancy, okay, and I think you've been here for a while. So there are 7 of us, and someone's joined. since then. And again, glad to have all of you here. Simon, Nancy, Dimitri, Dylan, David, and Amalin. And what I want to say also is this, is I hope that this format has worked for you. And I don't know if you've used Canvas before, or if this is your first online class. I was told this class had to be online, needed to be online. I taught one before that was hybrid, and I'll be curious to hear from you what your experiences were. And I hope also that you've learned a few things in the course, and it's maybe the pace of it has not been as crazy as some of the other courses. Because I think graduate school ought to be a time when you have a time to reflect and to think. Okay, so I hope you've had some of those experiences along the way, and had an enjoyable experience, because I really do believe that graduate school should be something that you enjoy. That was my experience, and I have many colleagues who had just the opposite. I had some professors that were very tough, but they were very fair. But they also realized we were human beings and we had lives outside, and I know that you do too. So I want you to know I appreciate the work that you do, and so I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what you've done with your movie selection, and when you come back next week. So it's about 7:30, and we've been going. I see one person with a chat. Open this up for just a minute. And okay, someone said I'm a fool. Okay. Okay, I would ask you to elaborate. So, please feel free to elaborate if you'd like to. And I'll tell you an interesting thing today. My wife and I made an online purchase, and we had a chat agent. And things went well till we went to checkout. And there were some things we wanted in addition to the item, like there was a warranty and there were some other things, and it wasn't showing up with what they produced. And then we got this a confirmation email that showed us that everything was there. But to the one of you who said, ha ha ha, you fool, why, okay, what can I say? So I'll be looking forward to seeing you elaborate that, and you know who you are, and unfortunately you're not passing the course. I'm teasing. I'm just kidding you. But I've enjoyed having all of you. And I'd say this, I think the one thing that's been really wonderful to me, and that I've enjoyed with all of you, has been the process of getting to see who you are, where you're from, because you loaded up, you had the discussion boards, introduced yourselves, and you are probably, in terms of people, in terms of your background, your credentials, your accomplishments, probably the best group I've had. So it's been a real joy to me to see your work and see you be so diligent about the process. So I hope, and I'm seeing someone there has learned to hop in here and mark things all up, or maybe that's me. I don't know. Someone's got control of the system, or maybe I've turned on the annotation. Let me see if I have, probably haven't, but yeah, I did. There it is. See. And so I want to give you a big TY. That's a big thank you for all that you've done. God bless you, folks. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of here and end this, and then I will see you next week with your movie. I've got one more chat coming in, and oh, that's all right, Simon. That's fine. No problem. No problem. And no problem. No, you're good. That's fine. Don't worry about it at all. This is the kind of fun we can have. What can I say? All right, folks, again, been a pleasure, and I hope that I look forward. I'm going to spread the word to everybody. Be here next week because I'll want to ask about your business movies, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much, and I'm going to stop the share and then end the class, and I will see you next week.